Hello everyone. Today we will learn how to perform the experiment of determination of wavelength of H alpha line of hydrogen spectrum. For performing this experiment we require these apparatus. First of all, we require the hydrogen discharge tube fitted with a suitable transformer. So this is the discharge tube. Next we need an optical spectrometer. Then we need a plane diffraction grating, a spirit level. Let us understand about different parts of this optical spectrometer which we are going to use to record the readings. It has basically 1, 2, 3, 4 main parts. This part is called as collimator, which is provided with an adjustable screw and a convex lens inside. The purpose of this collimator is to make the beam parallel to each other. So when the light from the source falls on this collimator, then parallel rays comes out of it. Another part is this telescope. This telescope produces the real image of the light rays entering through the objective of this telescope, and at the eyepiece the image can be seen. There is a crosswire also here, and we can focus the image of the light at the crosswire and take the reading accordingly. Then the next part is this prism table, which is also called as the grating table. So since we are going to use here grating to perform this experiment, so let us call it as a grating table. Now this table can move freely, and its movement can be also fixed to the movement of this table, which is the another table. Now here this movement is called as the movement of vernier table. So we can call this table as vernier table and this table as grating table. Now as we fix this screw, then what happens with the movement of this, you can see that both this grating table and the vernier table are moving simultaneously. But if we don't want the movement of this vernier table with the grating table, then we can unclamp using this screw. Now if you are moving this table, this vernier will not be disturbed. Now we have another scale, which is the main scale, and you can see that the main scale can be moved using this telescope. So as we are moving the telescope, the main scale also moves along with it. So there are total 2 different scales. One scale is called as vernier 1, second is called as vernier 2. But both the scales gives us the same reading, but the only difference is that they are 180 degree apart from each other. So if you take one reading over here which is 0 degree, then another reading will definitely be 180 degree, because both are 180 degree apart from each other. So why there are 2 different verniers given here? Just to have more accurate readings. That's it. The spectrometer is having a circular scale. So the meaning of this is that the unit of the reading will be in terms of degree, minute and second. On this main scale, there are 2 verniers provided with it. These 2 verniers are exactly at a difference of 180 degree from each other. So whatever reading will be there for vernier 1, another reading will be exactly at a difference of 180 degree apart. These 2 verniers gives 2 different values for the same reading. Before we start the experiment, it is important to make sure that each part of the spectrometer is properly leveled, and also the spectrometer should be adjusted for parallel rays. These adjustments are already done for today's experiment, and the adjustments will be discussed for your reference in the next video. Now let us begin the experiment. To start with, you have to make sure that the slit is as narrow and as bright as possible. That adjustment is already done using this adjustable screw in the collimator, and the slit is brightest and narrowest. Now the grating is mounted on the grating table so that its unruled surface faces the collimator and ruled surface faces the telescope. Now the telescope is adjusted just parallel to the collimator so that the light coming out from the source, passing through the collimator and coming out from this eyepiece will be as thin and as narrow as possible. Now using this screw, the slit can be focused. So it can be adjusted and it can be focused. So after when it is focused, the slit is made to coincide with the cross wire fitted with the eyepiece. Now once the vertical slit coincides with the vertical cross wire, now we are ready to start the experiment. Now in the next step we have to slowly move this telescope towards left hand side and keep looking through this eyepiece. This is your central slit. Now we will move the telescope towards left hand side slowly and keep looking into the telescope. Now you can see that the line spectrum has started appearing. Now we have to find out the wavelength of H alpha line, which corresponds to red line. So now we can see the bright red line. Now this we have to coincide with the vertical cross wire, and after coinciding we have to take the readings of both the verniers. After taking the readings, we have to find out the readings on the right hand side. Now whatever we are looking at is the first order spectrum. So now let's move towards right hand side. We'll be able to see the central slit. This is the central slit, and keep moving towards right hand side. Now again you can see the line spectrum, and we have to stop at the red line, and we have to bring the slit to the cross wire. It should coincide with the vertical cross wire. It is coinciding. Now again note down the readings of both the verniers. While taking the reading, just label one vernier as vernier 1 and second as vernier 2, and throughout the experiment the labeling should not change, because the difference of V1 on the left hand side and the reading of V1 on the right hand side will give you twice of theta for first order diffraction. Similarly, V2 on the left and V2 on the right, the difference will give you twice of theta again for first order diffraction. And then we will have two different values of angle of diffraction, average of which will give you angle of diffraction for first order spectrum. Similarly, for second order you have to keep moving it further, and then you will be able to see second order spectrum, and the same can be repeated and theta can be measured, and the value of lambda can be calculated using diffraction equation. Now let us understand how to record the readings. For that we have to find out the least count of the apparatus. In this apparatus there are two scales. One is the main scale, which is the circular scale calibrated from 0 to 360, and the calibration is in terms of degrees. There is a vernier scale which is marked from 0 to 60. The formula that we are going to use for finding out the least count, which is also known as vernier constant, is least count is equal to 1 main scale division minus 1 vernier scale division, or 1 MSD minus 1 VSD. In the next step we will find out what is the value of 1 VSD in terms of MSD, and then we will find out the value of 1 MSD in terms of degrees. So here let us look at the total number of lines between two different calibrations on the main scale. So on the main scale between two different calibrations there are total 20 lines. Between 10 and 20 there are total 20 lines. And on the vernier scale between 0 and 60 there are total 60 lines. Our purpose is to find out how many lines on the main scale coincides with 60 lines on the vernier scale. For that purpose, we have brought 0 of the vernier to coincide with the 0 of main scale. So both are coinciding. In this case, it will be easy to find out the total number of lines on the main scale that coincides with 60 lines on vernier. So here we can see that we have total 59 lines on the main scale which are coinciding with 60 lines on the vernier scale. Also, we have to find out what is the value of one main scale division. So since between two different calibrations there are total 20 lines and the calibration is in degrees, so therefore one main scale division will be equivalent to half degree. Now let us substitute the value of one vernier scale division in terms of main scale division. So one vernier scale division is equal to 59 upon 60 main scale division, because 60 vernier scale division is equivalent to 59, therefore 1 will be equal to 59 upon 60 main scale division. Now in this formula we can put for 1 VSD as 59 upon 60 MSD. Now in the next step we have to find out what is the value of 1 MSD, and we have just found that 1 MSD is equal to half degree. So therefore we can now express the value of 59 upon 60 MSD, which is 1 VSD, in terms of degrees by multiplying this to half degree. So this will give 59 upon 120 degrees. So now we have got the value of 1 MSD as half degree and 1 VSD as 59 by 120 degrees. Now substituting these values in the formula for least count, we will get the value of least count as 1 upon 120 degree. Now this can be converted into minute by multiplying this by 60, because 1 degree is equal to 60 minutes. So after multiplying we get the value in minute as half minute. Further, this minute can be converted into second by multiplying this by 60, because 1 minute is equal to 60 seconds. So in this way we get the least count in terms of second as 30 seconds. So this is the least count of the apparatus. Let's understand how to record the readings. This telescope is fixed on the left hand side for first order spectrum, and this telescope is fixed at the red line which corresponds to H alpha line of hydrogen spectrum. And we are now taking the reading of one vernier. So the reading is taken by looking into the 0 of the vernier, and we have to find out that on what value the 0 is coinciding on the main scale. So if you look closely, you'll find out that the 8th line after 320 is coinciding with the 0 of the vernier. So 8th line means 4 degrees. So 324 degree is the reading on the main scale. So 324 degree is the reading on main scale. Then we have to find out which line on the vernier is coinciding with any line on the main scale. So if you look closely, you'll find out that your 10th line on the vernier is coinciding with any line on the main scale, and for looking this best coinciding line on the vernier, you have to stand parallel to the apparatus so that there will be no parallax error. So now this 10th line is the reading of vernier without any unit. So we write down 10 here, and then this 10 has to be multiplied with the least count, and the least count has expressed in terms of second, minute and degrees. You have to see that which value you should take so that you will have a good value to deal with. So here, since the value is very small, 10, so we multiply this by half minute and we get this value, which is 5 minute. This is called as the vernier scale reading. This is your main scale reading, and this is the best coinciding line on the vernier scale. Now after adding these two, we get the final reading, which is 324 degree and 5 minutes. This way we take reading on both the verniers. To find out wavelength of H alpha line of hydrogen spectrum, we use this grating equation, which is n lambda is equal to a plus b sine theta. Here n is the order of spectrum, a plus b is the grating constant, and theta is the angle of diffraction. For first order spectrum, n is substituted as 1, and we are using grating having 15,000 lines per inch. So with this information we can find out the grating constant a plus b, which is equal to 2.54 divided by 15,000 lines per inch, and this will give the value in terms of centimeter as 1.6933 into 10 to the power minus 4 centimeter. Further, it can be converted into meters, which is the SI unit, as 1.6933 into 10 to the power minus 6 meters. Now let us rearrange this equation and take lambda on one side and rest on the other side. So we will get the equation for wavelength, which is lambda is equal to a plus b sine theta upon n. Here n is 1 for first order spectrum and a plus b has just been calculated. Then after finding out theta, which is the angle of diffraction, we can find out the wavelength of H alpha line of hydrogen spectrum. This is the observation table for finding out the angle of diffraction theta. First of all, the telescope is set towards left hand side for the red line of the hydrogen spectrum, and the reading of Vernier 1 is taken, which is written here. At the same position, the readings of Vernier 2 is also noted down, and you have to note that both the readings must be 180 degree apart from each other. Then we will bring the telescope towards right hand side and we will stop for first order spectrum and stop at the red line of the hydrogen spectrum. So when the vertical crosswire coincides with the red line, then at that position Vernier 1 reading is taken on the right hand side, and at the same position the reading of Vernier 2 is also taken. Now the difference of these two readings, that is reading of Vernier 1 on the left hand side and on the right hand side, this will give the value which is twice of angle of diffraction. Similarly, the difference in readings of V2 on the left and right hand side will give the value which is twice of angle of diffraction. By dividing this by 2, we get the angle of diffraction. So here we have two values of angle of diffraction, and since both are indicating towards the same angle of diffraction, so we find out the average of these two, which will give us the final value of angle of diffraction for first order diffraction grating. This value, after substituting in this equation, because we already know what is n is 1 for first order spectrum, a plus b has just been calculated. So after substituting theta, we get the value of wavelength of H alpha line of hydrogen spectrum. To find out what is the exact value for wavelength of H alpha line, we use this following formula, which is 1 upon lambda is equal to r into 1 upon nf square minus 1 upon ni square. This is the standard formula where nf stands for the final level and ni stands for the initial level. In this case, for H alpha line, which corresponds to red line of Balmer series, nf is substituted as 2 and ni as 3, and r stands for the Rydberg constant. After substituting the values for nf, ni and Rydberg constant, we can calculate the value of lambda, and here we get the value of lambda as 6563 angstrom. So this is the standard value of wavelength of H alpha line of hydrogen spectrum, and this value can be compared with the experimental value and the percentage error can be calculated.